Hello and welcome back to the Eternal Dawn YouTube channel. It is I, your captain, Straw Hat Lucas. I'm going to go around the table here and let the crew say hi, and then we will get right into One Piece, chapter 1139, Mountain Eater. So let's start with my right-hand man and historian of the Eternal Dawn, Mr. Kube of the Red Sea. How you doing today, Kube?
Hey man, I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. Another great chapter. We're on a run, right? Oda's on a run right now, and it's excited to be part of it.
I know, it's stellar. Next up, the helmsman who steers the ship of the Eternal Dawn, Mr. Knack Reacts. How we doing, Knack?
What at, guys? Super excited to be back here for 4 weeks in a row. Seems unprecedented with things recently, but really happy, really appreciative we got it.
Yep. Yes, sir. Next up, the heart of the Eternal Dawn, the one who guides us through these choppy waters, Miss 3-Day Trip. How you doing, 3-Day?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here, ready to get started.
And last but certainly not least, one of my best friends, my brother in arms, the head cook of the Eternal Dawn, Mr. Vexus, the lurking legend.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Vexus, the lurking legend. Y'all can just call me Vexus. Y'all can just call me Vex. I'm sorry, I'm flustered. I'm super excited, y'all, if you can't tell. But let's get into it.
Yes, sir. Starting us out, as always, with the cover story, Oni Child Yamato and the Holy Inner Shrine, Volume 25, 2 Rebels Apprehended. Now, me and Cube, during my chapter reaction, pretty much guessed this right away. Who do you guys think this is? Who are the 2 rebels?
I didn't guess it right away, but the community quickly filled me in.
It has to be.
It has to be.
I saw the horns. Yeah, I saw the horns and then the hat. Like, this is 100% page 1 and ulti, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I actually went to double check. The style of the horns are very specific with both of them. Ulti and page 1 have that similar pattern where one is a bit more wide and one is a bit more goes a bit higher. So it's not one-to-one, but it's Oda drawing obviously silhouettes, so trying to not make it one-to-one, but the discrepancy between both horns are quite similar for Ulti and page 1 together.
Well, it makes sense too if he's starting a little group here in Wano, and they were subordinates of Who's Who at one point, and they just didn't want to join this group. They would be called rebels.
Yeah.
In this situation.
Don't forget. Yeah, and
Do you guys think that Oda has heard everybody complaining about Silhouette Piece and was like, you know what I'm going to do with the cover story? 2 more silhouettes.
He does. I don't think he cares. He's let them talk.
yeah.
At this point, it feels like he's just stalling for time, though.
Yeah.
No, but like, let me find out these are 2 completely other random new characters that
With
don't even
horns.
have horns, and he's like, "Oh, you trust my silhouettes?" Like,
That would be hilarious.
Oh, that's their hair.
oh man.
Yeah. But I won't lie, it could also be it was introduced in Wano how they said the Tobiropo are just waiting to take out the 3 calamities to take their spot. So it could be like part of the Beast Pirate type of thing. They had a fight because they didn't accept Who's Who, and they still did not bend the knee.
For real.
I'm going to laugh when it's King and Queen. Oda's just like, don't trust me.
Oh man, that would be ridiculous.
Hey, I'm gonna laugh when Otama comes in and solos them. Like Otama versus the Tobiropo. Let's go.
Oh yeah,
Let's go.
But I don't think there's much really outside of like the obvious, like who's that Tobiropo? Like there's nothing really else here to dive too far into.
Yeah, no. It felt like he just barely adjusted the cover page from last week and was like, this is a new one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like we were starting all the implications we can get from what's happening in the cover story. We had them 2 chapters ago. So it just feels like it's now stalling for that big moment, because he does, like we said with the last one, want to maybe tie it into the main story at the appropriate time.
Yeah, of course. In 3-Day, you've been preaching that for the past month and a half, that it's gonna definitely tie into the main story. So I could see him trying to pad it out a little bit. But who's the guy in the middle?
Don't stop. We did this.
Could be anyone. Can be anyone, really.
He's wearing the mask, Al. How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know? How do you know?
Wait, look at it. Didn't
God.
recognize him. That's Sogeking from Enies Lobby.
That's
No,
yeah,
it's
of course,
not.
the mask. I get
How
it.
dare you?
I'd recognize my hero.
But, to get right into the chapter, this is such an interesting chapter to me, and we start off where they're looking for the key and investigating in West Castle with Roto, right? The main three that we saw last chapter.
East Blue 3.
The first three Straw Hats we got. And
The Orange
enjoying
Town
some of
3.
the antics. And
I am
Luffy
as well.
calling Luffy calling Ja Rule's sword Gramps is just so funny to me.
yeah, the guy with the sword in his head, yeah. This is super ominous though, going through this rubble. These skulls and the slashes. It's been mentioned a few times, but the damage on the walls is not from like traditional sword fighting. Looks like an animal attacked this place.
Yeah.
Also,
Well, imagine it's all hockey.
oof, that would be
Oh.
crazy.
Yo.
But I love
won't
how-
lie.
Oh, go ahead,
Oh,
you
sorry.
brother.
No, sorry. Yeah, I
I was just gonna say I love the idea that like he just is talking openly about getting Loki, and he's like, "Can you not talk so casually about that
Yeah.
out loud?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I
love
do.
how.
I-
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Just one point is there was a term. That's why we have to wait for the official to see if it's actually that statement. But just trying to free Loki is a heinous crime, which is the same term they use when they first talk about Zunisha committed a heinous crime a long time ago. So I'm wondering in this arc with the Loki stuff, if Oda's gonna draw breadcrumbs of what is actually the heinous crime that Zunisha committed. Because that's
Mm.
interesting,
I do
Well, yeah,
think
'cause
there's
now-
Hashtag
some,
free Loki.
yeah. Go ahead,
Yes.
Cap.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that now, especially like after that mural that the community has not been able to shut up about, we definitely want to start analyzing what here is going to be foreshadowing what we're going to learn about the Void Century. So I like the idea of like paying attention to things like that, the heinous crime and the lingo used. I have to say, as they're getting into the throne room and stuff, Roto being like, "Pardon the intrusion" to nobody. Like he's just like he's still
right.
like just so used to the royalty being there that he's nervous about going in there.
There's
He
another
reminds
piece of
me
text.
of
Oh, go ahead.
Usopp and Nami kind of together being a navigator and scared to death like Usopp. I swear.
That's a great
Yeah, I can
point.
see that.
But there's a piece of
just needs the
text here I
nose.
do want to get confirmation on with the officials, and it's referencing Yarul as a graybeard. And if that's the
yes.
case, like I thought there was a separation between Yarul and graybeards, but perhaps not.
Yeah, because they do seem like a legendary, like the Greybeards, is at least in the context that they've spoken of them before, they seem like the legendary group of warriors from Elbaf, right?
Yeah.
So
I just assumed they were like
including
not warriors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the elders.
like the elder, yeah,
The Elder Council or something.
yeah, exactly.
the wise elders.
I mean, if you think about it, because right now this generation of scholar giants comes from Saul 20 years ago. So, I mean, in a way, we could assume that the Greybeards are just other giant warriors who retired, like Ja Rule, if
Yeah,
if
that's
it's a
fair.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was in the same thought process as you, Nak. But if you think about it, maybe like most of the Greybeards all were part of the giant war. But what? It's a crew that's at least 400 years old. You know what I mean?
I'd love to meet some more of them then.
Yeah, same.
Dude, the history, like for
It
a lot of
is-
them, for them, Nolan is their childhood. You know what I mean? Which is crazy for some of those old ones. Ja
Yeah.
Rule's 400 years old, same timeline as Nolan. Like he could have heard of Nolan if he had great reputation around the world when he was a young giant, Colin's age or something like that.
He was still a
Yeah.
young boy hearing stories of ores.
Yeah, true.
Like they were just
Crazy
like
to think
talking
about.
about it like it just happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we take that 500-year comment that someone, I can't remember who made it, but like, yeah, that's still fresh for someone like Yarul who's growing up in terms of giants.
looking at this, like we had just been talking about, like the destruction of the castle all around. This almost full page panel of them coming into the throne room and seeing how destroyed it is with the hole in the ceiling, and we have the summoning circle in the middle. My goodness, the battle that must have taken place in this room.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Immediately, that's the first thought. I do have a few questions about the circle, but yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, like it's crazy that it's so massive in scale comparatively to Luffy, who again is just this little dot. And then like they can't even notice that something's up with the floor and that the circle's even there until Roto picks them up and they get to see it from like a more bird's eye view. Like it's insane how large this is.
Yeah.
I want to point out that it kind of looks like that circle could have been there for a long time because the destruction, it does not look like it goes into the circle like it was protected there. So
That's exactly
it looks like it's been there
what
a
I
long
wanted to touch
time.
on. Well, I came to the same conclusion, but from a different lens, because when we see the circles in Egghead, Saturn could use the circle when he was close enough to summon himself. But summoning the other Gorosei, Saturn had to actually do that. So that means someone had to summon the God's Knights here and create the circle, or this circle has just been left over for a long period of time, maybe since this incident. And that's how the God's Knight get it back and forth from Elbaf. Which would be
It could
crazy.
mean that they were involved in the fight.
Exactly.
That's what I was about to say. That could mean that they were part of the insurrection then.
Well, so Roto even goes so far as to say, I'm pretty sure this speech bubble is drawn to Road, where it says, I've seen these in books before. It looks like a magic circle.
Yeah.
I thought that was Nami saying
Nami said that, right?
It's not.
Yeah.
It looks like it's for me. It looks like it's
Is
Nami
it?
because it's low. Yeah, it's more Nami's.
Oh
level.
yeah, because this one points to points to Luffy, and then this one I don't know, but like it's interesting to think that if there was specifically records, because it says here that they're apparently used in rituals to summon demons in some countries, and we've seen with Brooks like immediate flash like a thing with the time skip where he was summoned air quotes by the folks in Hera Hetanya that were like trying to summon a devil, which is it's crazy to think that this is something that's like more publicly known than you would think a secret like this would be. And even this script almost looks like poneglyph, like etchings circling around it. So I'm just like, I'm very, very, very interested. Like, I know Robin's busy, reading lore piece elsewhere, but what if she were here and is there more she could tell us about this,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Guys, can I claim a dub for my Faustian deal video yet? Because like
you're getting close.
It's all
man.
pointing towards it. I'm getting so close.
So
go ahead, Cube. Sorry.
So the panel before that, when they see that huge panel where you see how small Luffy is to the summoning circle, when you look at Nami and Zoro, it's quite interesting. Those two lines, those white lines on that black cloth they're in, kind of gives me the vibe of how Oda used to draw in maps when they were talking about the red line. Which I find very interesting that they're on thing. I was just wondering, if there's some symbolism them to be on the left side of that thing. Just when I was doing.
Well, I wonder if they were on both sides of it, because that's the carpet that they were talking about. That's the red carpet.
Yeah.
And it
the
looks
red
like
carpet.
they're on the left and right side of it. Could represent the Grand Line and the Calm Belt on either side.
Ooh, that's interesting.
To me, what it looks like and what I first read it as before putting together, oh, that's just a carpet, is at the end of Gonko's arrows, how it has that like those little dashes, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, is this like actually an arrow in disguise? And like, are we about to get jumped? That was like my first thoughts when I was reading through.
Super interesting. Tarita, did you have something else you wanted to cook on with this circle though? I know you were real excited about this.
Me? Yes, I did. I wanted to say that I think there must be at least 2 or 3 different kinds of circles, because ones the Gorosei used had numbers, and it seemed like it related to the amount of people that could come through, or something like that.
Which people that could come through specifically?
Like, say,
Yeah.
there were 5 Gorsei coming through, so it had the number 5 to start out with. And that was what was counting down. I think some people thought they said 4, 3, 2, or 1. But
They
y'all
did.
know I read the Chinese anime or manga and stuff and watch the anime, but there's also these summoning circles there too, but they also look very similar to what they call space arrays. And these space arrays are used just to go back and forth without being summoned. So I wondered if that's what this was. And if that is the case, and it might be lost technology or black magic, if this is what brought the celestial dragons to the planet to begin with, was they from some other planet and used a space array to get here? That somebody damaged it on the other end and they got stuck? If they're not from this planet, that is.
So I'm going
And
to
that's
add
what
on.
it was
Spicy.
basically.
I'm going
That
to
is
add on
spicy.
of what you're saying because because I do like what you're saying, but it could also be an added point of something that Vegapunk said in Egghead when you talk about the Darrowfoot spirits. They're the ones who reside and are part of a different dimension. So he did allude for Darrowfoot. So they could be like a spectrum of the Gorseis yokai, their spirits, and maybe Darrowfoot come from it. That could be connected to that different dimension that he mentioned in Egghead. Ooh, spicy.
That's
Talking about where the devil
massive.
fruits
Yeah,
are
that is
from.
massive.
Yeah.
And
But also-
we know that Yarul's the only one that, well, not Yar,
Yeah.
only one, but he's telling people to stay away from the castle. Plus, we have these 2
Mhm.
guards that have been up here, and we have a whole bunch of suspicion building upon him and the incident. I'm wondering if he knows about this. Like, this is left over from the incident. He knows it's there. That's why nobody's allowed in the castle.
Yeah, actually, because Shuda, you talk about there's at least 2 different styles. I just looked. There's actually 3 different styles, and this person would love to see those summon circles. Brooke summon
Yeah.
circles that they summon was a bit different, but I'm curious if during those 2 years they explained to him more lore about summoning circles because
That's
people
what I'm
he stay
saying. There's
with.
at least 2 or 3 different kinds, at least.
Yeah, at least. So yeah, I'm actually curious to see what Brooke would say if they talk about it.
And just to play devil's advocate, like, if it wasn't there before the God's Knights shown up, and we follow the logic that they have to be summoned, that would imply there's somebody here on Elbaf right now that
A
is not an
traitor.
ally. Yeah.
Yeah, roll.
Y'all know
Hell
who
yeah.
I think it is. I won't say again.
Poor old Ange.
We're old age. Yeah, 3 days just
Y'all
be
know the
slandering
girls that
Ange.
bake apple pies are the most dangerous girls in the world.
This is true. This is true. She's got a point. Moving on a little bit, I have to say, in this the voice calls out, Straw Hat Luffy. Roto being afraid of Ghost is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Oh, it's classic.
is it a vengeful spirit? Like, that's how I kept reading his voice when I was reading. Like, he just seems so terrified.
But doesn't it make you wonder now that if there is actual vengeful spirits or something in One Piece, if they believe
It
in
would,
it?
with this whole introduction of almost like, because he said it's like a magic summoning circle or something of that effect. It makes me wonder if magic will play a bigger part in the story overall. And I've spoken several times with my Faustian Deal theory that I think that Emu's powers come from their ability of knowledge, that they know every secret of the world, which allows them to tap into that kind of demonic power and to become a devil themselves. And in the original One Piece manuscript, the Romance Dawn, their power system was magic. There was devil fruits and then magic as well.
Oh.
So I think Oda may bring that into play, especially with the summoning circles, the way that the Gorosei's powers don't line up with devil fruits necessarily. And like Vex loves to point out that when we got their Oda boxes, we did not get those devil fruits. That's just their power. That is what they are.
Especially with the
so-
regeneration.
Exactly.
I would even.
That
I
is
would even,
not. Oh, go ahead.
I would even add that if you think of past arc like post Ennis Lobby and Wano, the way they talk about ghosts and spirits, the way they talk about ghosts and spirits is almost like, and you can even take Perona's Dell Food, where she talks to an actual network where she has access to ghosts, like it's a real thing. And then some people who know the old history believe it that they're believers, while some people just lost that belief because there's no proof.
Well, I mean, Oda's given us supporting evidence for a lot of these things actually being existent, but maybe not necessarily prevalent in the story up until now. And I could see him very well tying them all together soon, in a way, maybe, possibly. But like Brook's power, he literally says he attacks with the chill of the underworld. Yep. And we saw him as a soul like go there and come back. So we know that the afterlife exists in One Piece as a concept. It actually does exist, and in some form or another is partially tangible to at least a very select niche set of powers like Brooks and Big Moms and stuff like that, potentially. So like that exists. And then we see possession, like, because Roto says like, let's get out of here before we get possessed, is possibly also a thing with
jacket
characters like, okay, no, I was gonna say Hakuba and Cavendish.
Yes.
And so like then we also have these crazy they're right in our face, hidden in plain sight type of unexplained technologies such as Den Mushi and Viver cards that also could come into play here. So like the soul is something that is, for all intents and purposes, entirely tangible. We've seen astral projection, we've seen some sort of like magnetic pull from like Viver cards attached to somebody's genetic like makeup. Like there's definitely science that I think if you hodgepodge enough of things together could entirely explain what we are possibly seeing as magic. But until it's all spelled out for us, we just have 2 and 2. We don't have that equals 4 just yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think we have all of the pieces to the puzzle. We just have to see how he arranges them to make it make sense to us, if he chooses to do that. But he doesn't have to. He could just leave it unexplained, and I'd also be fine with that,
Yeah. Very spicy stuff, guys. Very spicy stuff. A demon was summoned. The castle really is cursed. I'm sorry. I love Roto for. It is cracking me up. But yes, Roto tries to run away, and a giant axe. Like if you look at that axe compared to the size of Roto, jeez, gets thrown and crashes right in front of him, causing him to drop the straw hats. And it's here that we meet Sir Ya, or Ya-san. I'm being coy, guys.
He had a badass entrance. I'm gonna say it. Like,
yeah,
badass. And the way he stands there like Odin, giving his entrance, is fantastic.
It's the big smile for me.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I said all I need because I've been, we've been talking about, most likely Scopper being introduced in Elbaf. All we need now is to find out that he has your Jackson to fit with some of the stuff that we're saying in his lobby,
This is just Ya-san. I don't know where this agenda is coming through. For me, it's the Hawaiian shirt. The Hawaiian shirt is
Frankie's
everything.
dad confirmed.
I love it.
Lucas, at one point,
sorry. He's vacation buddies with Garp and Sengoku, clearly.
Yeah.
Lucas, at one point you're gonna have to do a video where you're gonna have to put all the allegations of all the possible Frankie's dead, because at this point it's 5 pages.
Yeah, it is. Everyone but Queen. Him saying it's been ages since I've been to Wano, I want to go again. Like, peak, dude. It was.
I think
like, all right,
it's also crazy that.
Go ahead.
I think it's also crazy that like this person, whoever they are, it could be anyone really at this point. Is the Shiki?
He's the missionary of love.
They are able to. They felt the strange surge of hockey, and it seems that Luffy was completely unaware of it, and is only here for the key. We have no inclination to believe that any one of the Straw Hats nor any of the Giants were able to sense that, but this person is. And it might be due to proximity. It might be because this Yason is him. You know what I mean? Like.
So there is something that's quite interesting, and it's something that Yasan said when Nami says, "No kidding, to think someone like you exists," and he does. Love knows no bound, and he talks about mixed races in One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of that second one, those Sunadas.
Neither have I.
It is quite interesting because I'm starting to believe something that was kind of hinted in Egghead when Dorian Broggy looked at the Gorosei and said, "We've never seen any creature like that. They have to be mortals." That would only work if you've at least witnessed a lot of almost extinct races that are still alive. So I'm wondering if in Elbaf we'll be seeing more of those hybrids that are so rare that we never heard about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fact that he also just casually confirms that Buccaneers are, which so many theorists had theorized about, is beautiful.
Well, we
But
got a
what he
little bit of
says-
that
Buccaneer.
because Ivankov told Kuma, during the flashback, you got the blood of the Giants in you. So we knew there was some sort of hybrid races going on. We just didn't have confirmation that it was just two different races
Well, I'm wondering
getting together. You know what I mean?
if Buccaneers are made from a giant father with a human mother instead of a human father with a giant mother, because he even says that Colin takes after his mom. He says the boy's giant blood runs strong, and he's 20 years old. Ripley being 80
cool.
Crazy.
is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what it
That's
is
a-
with hot
that's a dub
grandmas
for
this
me.
day, but
I literally called it. I was like, she's got to be maybe within a year or so of Hadruden. I didn't have airtight basis to judge that off of, but I did say that I think four chapters ago in our discussions. But it's crazy that that Colin, who I'm fully convinced is a Buccaneer until we get a further explanation.
Yeah,
but he's
definitely.
older than Luffy.
Yep.
He's older than Luffy, which is crazy.
Mhm.
We were all giving
I'm also-
Luffy crap for swinging on a child at full strength. He's older. What do you mean?
Yeah, 1 year older.
Why is he picking on Luffy?
Yeah. So I'll take the dub for Ripley's baby daddy is Scopper. But what's interesting is
Oh,
But what
I
they
was
said
just gonna
about,
guess that dub
Colin-
he says.
of Colin being a true Buccaneers. Kuma is not a full-fledged Buccaneers. He's what, one half only. We might see
No, he's
maybe
full.
with
His
No,
mom
because
and dad
his-
were both Buccaneers.
both of them. No, I thought it was only the dad.
Yeah. No,
No,
I'm
only
pretty
the
sure his
dad.
mom was too.
No, because you're sure? Because he said
Yeah,
I'm
'cause he-
Buccaneer.
Yeah, but
His mom
the
was human.
doctor, remember, the doctor said, "Don't worry, I'll keep you and your wife's
No more
lineage
monkeys
to
jumping on the bed."
myself." Yeah, he also said that.
Um, No, it's only his
I
dad.
may
I'm
be
just
mistaken.
I'm checking the wiki. No, only his dad. His
Only
mom,
his
they
dad?
were
Okay.
they were all arrested, and his dad is the Buccaneer. So he is a true Buccaneer, Colin, more than Kuma. So we might get more of what because maybe with Kuma I got diluted a bit, but there's might be more to the Buccaneers because that's what
Yeah.
Vegabond was alluding to as well.
I don't know if Colin is a Buccaneer though, because Kuma as a child was he was not as tall as Colin is as a child,
Yeah,
and
but
he
Colin's
doesn't
20.
age like a giant there. Yeah, but
Colin's
that's
20.
what I'm saying is Buccaneers. There's got to be another factor into the Buccaneers, because Kuma
we
didn't
still
look like he
don't
was
know
8
enough,
years old. when he was
so-
born. Yeah.
Like I said, until we have more to go off of, I'm convinced.
Yeah, me too. But yeah.
I am not.
Especially because his dad is literally in this chapter mentioning Buccaneers. So I'm pretty convinced.
I still,
Also-
I want to know in the officials if that Dusandadas is like what he actually said or what.
Yeah,
Because
so as
that's
well.
not the mushroom
Clearly
people,
it's-
is it?
No, that is a Kinokobito.
Yeah. Kanoki
Clearly
Bito or
though,
something like
with Dada at the end there, it's probably like a part Tontada.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was
And
talking
Dada
with
probably.
Kusa. I was talking with Kusoland Theories about it, and like Dosun just is like a noise for like a loud thud or something like that, like a footstep or like a stomp or something like that, which means it could be part Tontada, part giant. And don't ask me how that works. It just does. And I think we might have already seen that in Banshina.
I was gonna say,
Usopp's
is it-
mom.
Wouldn't it just be a human? Wouldn't they just look like humans if it's half,
Yeah,
half Tontada? and half
Banshina looked
Tontada?
like a human, but she had a Tontada nose. And
True.
if she was part Tontada and part giant, she might equivalent to be around human size. And it would be really interesting because that would make Usopp somebody who already vibed really hard with the Tontadas, part Tontada, and also somebody who is considered an honorary giant. It would make him part actually, like an actual part giant in bloodline.
Yeah.
So I think that would be really cool if that's what we
That
got.
would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is we've been doing the memes of how post time skip Blackbeard on how his face looks. He'll start to look more and more like Usopp. That could be also like maybe not that specific hybrid race, but we might be alluding to Blackbeard's lineage as well in this arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-Day posted in the chat. There is a literal character named Dosun in One Piece who is a fishman, but his name is he's a hammerhead fishman, and so it'd be Dosun. Yeah, Dosun being like a loud stomp or like a noise. It's that would be like the onomatopoeia that a hammer makes. So I don't think it's related to fishmen at all. I do think it's actually probably a giant with a Tontada, which again, until otherwise stated and confirmed, that's what I'm convinced of.
I was
I'm here
trying to
for it.
find it. Where is what names did he name off for the ones he just said for the Dozen Daughters and
So Buccaneers, those
So it's Buccaneers.
long necks, long leg, and Wotans.
I kind of wonder if
I
they
think,
all have some sort of giant blood in them, because what's interesting is the Wotan is actually a name for Odin in old Germanic languages.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think of the Viking stuff.
Yeah, that's
Actually-
interesting.
So it
That
might
is
be all
interesting.
giant lineages of some sort, or mixed half breeds or whatever.
Finding out that the
Ooh.
long limb tribes are in fact we probably already could have insinuated this, or it might have been implied, but it's more or less confirmed if we take Yasun's word as law, which I kind of do, I'm not gonna lie. The long limb tribes are hybrids of different varieties, which is pretty cool as well, I think.
Yep. It's fantastic.
And also he put 3 dots afterwards, so most likely there were some one or two more that most likely Oda did not want us to know the name as well, potentially.
3 dots after. It's a dragon. Yasun is dragon confirmed.
Crazy.
I love this interaction right after this, though, with Zoro being like, just who are you? And he's like, I'm the missionary of love. Like, it's so good.
I believe him.
Yeah, same.
Whoever
And
he is.
Luffy being like, I bet Sanji ends up just like him. Like, we can only hope.
And I don't know if you guys are keeping score, and I have not seen the officials yet, but this is the second time in this chapter that somebody has uttered the words "Free Loki," #Free Loki.
We are winning this agenda, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
The stocks are up on Yarul being sneaky. He's been up to something.
I love that Luffy is like just casually throwing that out too. And I believe someone had said something about it earlier too. Roto just be like, "Stop being so casual about it." And he's like, "Oh, forget I said that."
Yeah, and I won't
Like his grandfather.
I won't lie.
Mhm.
Yeah, I won't lie. With ever since people saw the Odin flashback with the Roger Pirates, there's been indication that Scopper possibly could be the navigator. Those allegations are not being taken away like the Cerberus or Shiki as the guy who went to see Crocus, with the way that he seems to specifically be having a real interaction with Nami, the navigator.
Where is all
Yeah.
this Scopper stuff coming from? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just
Is this
assuming.
Yasan?
It's Yasan. Sorry, word of mouth. But
clearly,
I feel a vision because I see a vision, man. Just see my vision.
Clearly, this is old man Hyogoro's cousin. That's why he's like, oh, I've been to Wano. Like,
Let's
Look at what he's wearing. I mean, seriously.
yeah, man.
Ya could stand for Yakuza.
I'm willing to die on that hill, guys. If you want, we could do a little bet. Whoever loses has to wear the Nami bikini on stream next time. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness.
I love him telling Nami straight up. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna say about it." He's like, "Rumors were made to spread."
Dude, he's a fantastic introduction of a character. And then we get, a little bit more lore on Shanks and the Loki situation.
Yeah. The one who locked him up before was none other than Red Hair. The fact that he says until that point no one was able to stop him is spicy. Not a single giant in Elbaf could stop Loki. Crazy work.
Well, I mean, if he had a kid here 20 years ago, he was here up until that. So if not even he was able to do it, maybe he sat out and like he's like, nah, that's on y'all or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't his prerogative, but maybe this does in fact scale Shanks above Yasan, who I was thinking was top 10, like just by the intro,
And if Luffy stands shoulder to shoulder with Yasan or with Shanks, that means he's stronger than Yasan.
And if he's anything like
goodness,
Sanji after all, then he would have stayed behind to protect the women. Anyway.
Also,
Don't worry, Ripley. I'll stay here with your sisters.
Also, there was that comment of when Shanks took out Loki, he brought him back to Elbaf. So it could be that quickly afterwards Loki left, and Shanks was the only one who had the abilities and was lucky. He hunted him, found him, and brought him back. In a way that how Ace was talking about Blackbeard, he's gonna defeat him, and bring his body to Whitebeard.
I'm telling you guys, all this happened after Lola rejected Loki, and he went on a tirade and was like, "No, she doesn't love me."
crash out.
Yeah, full crash out. Because look at him, he's a little butterbean sweet boy in that little silhouette we got of him.
I mean, can you blame him though?
No, I can't. Look at Lola.
Oh my goodness.
Just like her
What's wrong
mama.
What's wrong
Fine.
with Lola? Okay. Yeah, man, you're gonna. And also, I do like Yasan's flashback with two of his old friends. Seems to be an old flashback of two characters we have never seen before whatsoever, which is cool.
It could be anyone.
Yeah, it could be anyone.
Silhouette piece.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna guess who
I mean,
it is.
yeah.
Hold on. Let me
Actually-
just take a good look, and I'll give you my
Look at the
honest guess.
mustache.
Yeah, that's your keys.
I'm
It's
telling you right
clearly
now.
Zeph.
No. I'm telling you right now, here, you heard it first. I guarantee you, this is page 1 in Ulti. Right?
I haven't heard
Like,
anyone
look at him.
suggest that yet.
Clearly, your
He said he's been to
rumors are
Wano.
mixed up somewhere.
But wait, guys, he says we're just pointing out the risk, Roger. So clearly, it's page 1 in Ulti.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
Oh
implication.
my goodness.
I don't know what
wow.
else we could get from this.
So, but
Right.
memes aside, when he's talking, on the other side of Usopp, they're talking about obviously Yasan's time as a Roger pirate. It's quite interesting how the legends are very similar to feats of the Straw Hats in Whiskey Peak and Drum Island, almost similar adventures, which makes me even more wondering what people saying that Luffy reminds me so much of Roger. What if like even their adventures are almost like just they took different decisions at some points, but they're very uncanny stories. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because which would be cool to see.
I mean, for me, any chapter that mentions Rayleigh, it's at least an 8 out of 10. Like, and this is like this whole conversation that we get where Usopp's hearing these tales, and it's funny that Usopp is he's the tale teller, you know. And for him to be getting these, I think it's really cool because like he's finally like maybe met his people, like his match, where it's like, oh well, I took down Oars. It's like, oh well, this guy, like, you know, and like I think it's just a really cool back and forth, even if it's just a little small chunk, like a sliver of the chapter. I loved this little interaction.
Well, check it out too. Usopp, who used his ability to tell tales in Innie's lobby to free Oimo and Kashi, and then Oimo being the one to tell him. It's just full circle, and I love that. And Oimo being so hyped too, just being like, but that one man armed with nothing but his 2 axes fight off hundreds of them. Like it is perfect. By the way, if you guys don't know, that was a perfect impression of his dub actor.
Yeah, I really also, I can't get enough of Gerd just looking so darn cute behind Jinbei in this panel. Like, look at her.
So there is something that I'm wondering now, and it's something that was mentioned by the instance of Dr. Carrera wanting, you know, the castle, right, in Drum Island. The fact that the Elbaf castle throne has a secret, you know, underneath passageway tunnel, like, you know, chamber, makes me wonder if maybe Drum Island and other kingdoms like that also have that set up, you know, something hidden under the throne room. Because we've seen many times like some castle having, you know, hidden things under their castle. So I'm wondering now if also there might be some of them might have chambers. Because Carrera really wanted that castle all by
Imagine
herself.
the secrets hidden behind the throne room at Marie Joie.
It's not close enough to count a W for my bingo card. It's not a secret realm per se. It's a secret room. I was hoping
you've got the first straight A, you've got the first letter, you know. Pretty soon.
We're playing horse. Oh my goodness.
But yes,
hearing the legendary tales of a man who earned the name Mountain Eater, translation pending. I don't know if that's going to be exactly that in the officials. This was so spicy.
The Mountain
and
Gobbler.
What?
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Dude, Brooks' design looks so sick, and just seeing him like standing at full attention right now, like, because he knew of Roger's crew when they were upstarts, you know, and like, I don't know,
that
like,
rookie.
This is just interesting as well. Yeah, this is crazy, and like also I can't help but think that like the horns on his helmet are like very distinctly different from every other type of horns that we've seen for the most part. There's like very few that have those like straight type of horns. So I'm like also like, but I just love his design. He looks so sick.
I'm telling you,
he
for me,
rivaled the vice captain.
He has the vibe of Shura from the NL's guys. His helmet with instead of horns, there were straight wings to the side, but almost very similar. And his mustache did the same thing almost
With the goggles.
Yeah. It really rivals.
I see what you're saying.
Points to Kube. Yeah, points to Kube for even remembering Shura as a character, and nonetheless, or like, you know, and his name even. That's crazy.
Dude, I think I'm one of the few people who just liked his design, so I've always remembered him. I'm one of the few people, I think.
You mean the guy that attacked Chopper and the Mary and set it on fire?
Oh, dang, I remember that guy. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
But another thing I was noticing whenever I was talking about this with Kusoland theories, you know, a couple, like I think it was 2 days ago, in his introduction, right after when we get the Oda box that says Yason, after he threw the axe, and we just meet him, he has like a bracelet. He has something on his, I think it's his left wrist.
Wait, let me
And then
check.
in these next panels of him, we don't see it at all. So I don't know if that's like an inconsistency or like what's going on there, but yeah,
We need to
that
screen
also is
that.
something that I spent way too much time like thinking about that, and it's probably nothing, you know, but interesting.
Yeah, it's a good point because I actually wanted to see this chapter if Oda has kept the bandage, that small bandage on Rodo's face, even though when it's very very small face, so there could be something to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
this does bring us though to the massive ending of the chapter, right? We're in the treasure chamber. The key is set up on what looks like an altar. And oh yeah, this key, you're gonna have to fight me for it, says Yasan. As we learn, he is the Pirate King's left hand, Scopper Gaban. And I just have to say, I got a dub on this because I kept telling everybody that dude with the tattoo on his head in Marineford in the East Blue was not Scopper. And I was correct. Everybody
Dude.
went on and on. That's Scopper Gaban. No, it's not.
Dude, I have actually proof for the otherwise, but no worries, man. Let's go with this.
Oh, where's his face tattoo? Where's his Mike Tyson face tattoo then, Cube?
But there's also something that's quite interesting. So, if the key is there, right? It's after they locked up Loki, right? That's 6 years ago.
Yes.
That means that thing of no one has ever gone to the throne room, the empty chest and the key being there. There's definitely been someone other than Scopper, I think, who's been going to the throne room as well, possibly.
Yeah.
Probably
I
Ripley
mean, we were
and
talking
Scopper.
about potentially the God's Knights having, or some force from Marijois having set up the circle preemptively. You think maybe they were like, oh, let's take all this treasure from the giants? Like, I don't know, because like they are like greedy people.
Possibly.
I don't know, like it's not outside of the question, but you did bring up Ripley, and I think that's funny because she was talking with Frankie last chapter,
Yes.
right, about how valuable the jewel tree atom would have been. So maybe.
Yeah, maybe the world government did have a hand in it, and they were like, this is their endowment until they become a proper country of the world government. We'll just hold on to this.
Most likely, yeah. Well, if that's the case, most likely the key was put after they took all the treasure chests because they're trying to get Loki out. Why didn't they? If they knew about that room and the key, so most likely it was emptied before the key was dropped there.
It seems
think-
like somebody had to have taken the treasure too, but I wonder if they weren't trying to find the legendary devil fruit at some point, and that's why I was scattered about.
That's
Could
a good
be.
point.
I'd like to think that it's probably because the key was left behind. That tells me that it was more than likely some kind of giant bandits that went in there and did it, and they just ransacked the treasure room. But even they knew, oh, we don't want to touch that because that's the key to free Loki. Like, you know what I mean? And he committed a heinous crime.
One way or the
kind of
other,
thing.
it gives me this like little panel here. Honestly, gave me like Gaimon vibes, like back in the East Blue, the goat himself, and it's not really important.
You mean
to
Prince Cruz?
us who. It's not really important to us who took the treasure from Gaimon's island. It's just important that the treasure chests were empty, right? So I don't know if it's worth really reading too much into, but it is an interesting like thought piece, But yeah, the main takeaway here is that whoever the hooligans or bad guys or whoever did take this treasure, whoever they were, they knew, do not free Loki. Hashtag free Loki.
Hashtag free Loki. Well, if it was Gaban, I mean, like, let's be real. The dude is a pirate. And not only that, he's a very notorious pirate. So, like, he already knew the room
his
was
Odabox
there.
Says ex-pirate, thank you.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Facts.
Pirates like treasure, but I'm just saying.
Come on.
He changed his
correct,
ways. Come on now, he's got a kid.
Listen, I still
could
need to
never
know
be
how that
Yasop.
happened. Yeah.
Could
Oh
never
my
be
God.
Yasop. Oh, that's all I'm saying. He's the anti-Yasop. Like, this guy's
Do you
such
think
a
when-
Giga Chad. Where?
When Colin is like, "Daddy, hold me, I'm scared," he just picks up his father. Like,
So-
Bro.
So I did So I did a bit of. I was curious about the term Gaban, how it was written, which did for the official, and wanted to see, and I actually found something that was created by Toei in the 80s, where it's called Space Sheriff Gavan, but it could also be called Gaban. And what's interesting is the name of the arsenal of that character. Two of his he's basically a space sheriff with a lot of gadget, a bit like the mix of Inspector Gadget and Batman. And two of his arsenal is a drill machine called Scooper, and then he has an actual it's very remnants of the technology we saw that Vegapunk was talking in Egghead. Barriers of light, laser beams, Z. It was quite interesting. So I was wondering, we have to wait for the official, but I'm wondering if, he's now taking that name some other inspiration. But yeah, that's we did some, because it was an interesting way of writing Gaban, which was fun fact.
I think.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the series that Kube is talking about is what became VR Troopers in the U.S.
Okay, I did not know that.
I think that the implications of somebody of this caliber being introduced this late into the story, and we all, so many people, like more than half of the community was already on the train of thought that he was whoever was wearing this casa, and that he was who had drinks with Crocus back in the cover story, and that he would be introduced either here or in Lodestar if we were to ever end up there or something, because the Roger Pirates have been strategically placed. This is just crazy to me, because Rayleigh is, to me, that's my number one. That's my GOAT. It's my absolute favorite character in all of One Piece, because of the way that he is written, because he's somebody who holds all of the answers and is somebody who was such a pivotal mentor figure to somebody who I hold dearly, which is Luffy. And so there's so much that goes into how goated Rayleigh is, and if we're getting like a second, like a second, just absolute badass introduced right now, this is peak. Like, it's so hard for me to not put him in my top 10 straight out the gate. I love him. This was a really cool interaction, really cool introduction, and I cannot wait to see how things unfold with this character, because I do absolutely think that he might be top 3 in the making, but I'm going to reserve my opinions on placing him until, for one, the officials come out, and for two, we maybe a couple more chapters when we get to actually see how this all plays out. But there is so much that this man has to offer to us at this point in the journey.
Yes, sir.
It's actually insane to think about.
And I love how it parallels, between Roger, Rayleigh, and Scopper. It's like Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro too. They're the love part. I wouldn't have thought that was going to happen at all.
Neither did I. That was a very good way for Oda to kind of correlate even more so the Pirate King's crew with the future Pirate King's crew. So I really, really did enjoy that as well. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, and obviously, we know now he's Scopper. We know he's the guy who met Crocus. We are still not sure that he is the guy that said "Come on, Zen" in Warland drinking, because it was really zoomed in, that silhouette that we're all expecting who it is. But if it's the same person, if it's also Scopper, because it could be, but the way it's zoomed in, we can't really tell. We can't even tell if it's a hat or it's just his head.
I think guy was hearing him to assume that that's him.
Yeah, that's him. With the way that he was able to sense with his observation haki, the God's Knight's haki, at least, and making mention that something that Luffy couldn't. This could explain how that person also was able to talk to what they were saying on the ship when they were miles away. You know what I mean? If it's Scopper, it would make sense. So yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
do we think?
I think.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, guys, grab your bingo, because I think a lot of us called Scopper and will be back, so you can take that out from your bingo now.
I did. I got that. It was me. Do we think that Scopper is the man marked by flames? A lot of people have been pointing out that the scar on the side of his face does look like a flame. I'm not 100% convinced yet, but I would love to hear your guys.
I I'm not convinced on it either yet. I think we'd need a lot more than just something that looks like a flame as a scar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I won't be convinced of any scarring because it could be anything. Like we see S Croc has a scar and they're a clone. Like, how did they get that? So that is not going to be definitive for me. For me, if it's going to be the man marked by flames, I'm going to need to see the ship. I'm going to need to actually see the poneglyph, like, before I'm fully convinced, because I've been hurt by Oda before, you know?
I also,
Like,
I need the auto box that says he's, man marked by flames, because we've seen that many times. The only reason why I've always liked Scopper, I like Saul, and there's always other candidates, but I did like Scopper because this could explain how Shanks is convinced that Luffy will come to him, or he'll meet Luffy before he goes to Laugh Tale. And I always said, the timeline on around 10 years ago, the poneglyph, that red road poneglyph disappeared, that missing one. It does fit for me with the timeline of after he met Shanks, Luffy met Shanks and ate the fruit. So it makes sense that, Shanks made precautions that Luffy will need him, or Shanks is behind the disappearance of that road poneglyph. That's why I do like Scopper, possibly being the man marked by flames. But like you guys said, I'm even worse than you guys. I want an Oda box saying man marked by flames, or someone said that he is a man marked by flames.
Yeah, like Massaduce showing up and be like, I am the man marked by flames.
But this could explain why Kid went back to Elbaf, because they said they have to go see the man marked by flames. So if he's on Elbaf, it would explain why they went there.
Yeah, that's the only tangible evidence to me. I know the scar does look slightly like a flame mark, but the only tangible evidence for Gaban possibly being the man by flames is the fact that Kid was specifically going to Elbaf to meet the man marked by flames.
Yeah. So that would explain it, because I don't believe that he was willing to, after surviving hell in Wano, to to directly go to a different type of hell.
My question.
Sorry.
My question is, because we see him saying you're gonna have to get past me, and this guy's got a big old smile on his face. We know that this guy is crazy, and if he is around Rayleigh level, we remember seeing Shaki saying back in pre-time skip in Saba Odi, Rayleigh's 100 times stronger than you all. And then we got that moment from Luffy in Roof Piece when he was talking about oh, we're 100 times stronger than we were, and so I'm just or was that an Egghead? But yeah, I'm I need to actually see how this plays out. Do we think this is going to be an epic all-out Luffy fully holding nothing back against Scopper, or is Scopper just gonna take one punch and be all right, yeah, you're cool, you can have the key?
Yeah,
how do we
feel
imagine this fight plays out?
I feel like Luffy's gonna go Gear 5 and hit Scopper one time, and Scopper's, yep, you're good, you got it, legitimately.
Actually,
Because Luffy got trained by Rayleigh in hockey, right, and stuff. Luffy hadn't unlocked Gear 5 yet, and even Rayleigh like hinted that Luffy had surpassed him, right? It's
I don't know about that.
No, he hinted. He hinted that he left 6 months ago because he surpassed all anything he could teach him.
Yeah,
it was about the training. Yeah. That's why he left him alone. Honestly, if there's supposed to be power with Sabaody or Rayleigh, I would love it more like. Obviously, I mean, we love Zoro, but I don't. I think if Oda's gonna do something where he's gonna show that Zoro realized there's something in hockey that he still lacks. That's why Luffy has such a big distance. But I would love it to be a parallel to Kizaru versus Rayleigh in Sabaody, where they're fighting, and then Scopper is fighting in equal ground, but then you can see that Scopper is really out of it, like Rayleigh was with Kizaru, where he's starting to sweat.
For me, the best case scenario, what I really hope we get out of this interaction, is actually a Hunter x Hunter parallel. And I'm not gonna spoil anything because I know Nak hasn't gotten into it, but I want it to be Luffy goes completely all out and can't even lay a finger on him, and if he actually does get one punch in, Gaban is gonna be all right, cool, yeah, we're done, you got it. And it's I don't know if it's gonna be a punch that lays out Scopper, or if it's just if you can make contact with me at all, cool, you're him. But like I don't know, I think that would be so cool is because if he does have that observation hockey, like is it so far out that he can see them coming from islands away, or is it future sight where he can tell 2 days in the future or something? Like how crazy can we potentially insinuate this character is? And if so, how does Luffy beat that? How do you even lay a finger on a man with that level of observation hockey? And I know it's a stretch, but like, you know, because Oda is not super consistent with a lot of like feats and power scaling and stuff like that. I'm not a power scaler, I never will be, but I just think it would be really cool if we got like that kind of Hunter x Hunter moment where it's like, yo dude, if you can lay one finger on me, we're good.
That would also parallel Sanji, because Oda has said in the SBS that Sanji specializes in observation hockey. I haven't seen it personally, but
well, he obviously has an edge because he could sense people when nobody else could.
Yes.
Also, the whole being knocked out the moment Luffy comes back, he just the voice wakes him up. So like
the voice of all things.
No, he says he can hear Luffy's voice. That was connected to a mantra, awareness.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and that was also
in Wano.
Yeah, in Wano. Yeah. So my thing is as well is I'm gonna go double even first and then Vex. What if we finally get a character that shows both proficiency for both future sight abilities, but also what Fujitora and the people of Skypiea were doing, where they were aware of their surrounding, not seeing just the future, but they're like someone who could, like we've seen with Kaido. Kaido has a bit of different hackies like Luffy.
So good visual.
Yeah. Like the guy has the different. We've seen now in post time skip, every opponent had a specific type of observation haki and armament, but with Kaido, he was the one saying, "You think you're the only one who has multitude abilities of haki? I too can see the future. I just don't care right now." I would love for Scopper to be that guy that plays around with all of it.
Yeah, to tie it in with that, I know we get like from the tales that, you know, Usopp is hearing about and the other Straw Hats are hearing about is that, oh, he like cleared a whole mountain of every tree and all that. Like, yeah, this guy's probably got some swinging power, but I feel like it would be interesting to me if because if he was unable to, for some reason, like he might have just not tried, but if he was unable to get Loki, it might just be that like Loki, maybe he just couldn't hit Loki, whereas Shanks could, because we do know from volume 4 billion that Shanks is apparently called the observation killer, which we haven't seen that really happen in panels. But if Loki just had observation haki that was able to rival even Gaban's, which he did juke Luffy's Gear 4 punch, but like he was unable to dodge the arrows because maybe that's like faded. I don't know. We're unable to understand fully how Gunko's power works, but it was a shock to him that the arrows were even going to hit him. So I'm led to believe, especially with the bandages over Loki's eyes, that Loki has some next level observation, and Gaban could probably even rival that, but maybe he wasn't able to beat Loki in that sense, because I feel like if you were able to get one hit on him, if you're clearing all the trees off of a mountain, there's not many people who are going to get back up from that. So maybe the only reason Shanks was able to even beat Loki was because he removed observation haki from the equation. And I don't know, like, so I'm thinking that like maybe this isn't about Gaban actually going blow to blow with Luffy. It's just about testing his observation to see if he's that guy and if he can put up with what Loki's putting down, you know? I don't know. That's a lot of headcanon, like, but I'm here for it. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, especially since he straight said to Luffy, like, what's your plan? And Luffy said, you know, I'm going to free him, and if he turns out to be an asshole, I'm going to beat him up and put him back in chains. Like, just to make sure that he has the ability to do that. Yeah, go ahead, 3-Day.
Do we think Gunko and Shanks have an ability, you brought this up earlier, I won't spoil anything, but like Zetsu and Hunter x Hunter, where they can completely kill their haki? Where nobody else can sense them? Or their capes, do they actually serve a purpose to hide their haki?
To hide their haki? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Or their life force, whatever.
Especially with how few people noticed the haki burst in Hour's Castle. Like,
Right.
Definitely plausible.
I think it's interesting. Not even just talking about like, I don't know, like the God's Night or the Holy Knights and like Gaban and like everything that's going on here. Like, I'm just really having another figure like this, like another like Rayleigh-esque figure, somebody who this person sailed with Roger's crew on the Oro Jackson. This person was at God Valley. They met Garling. Like this person like sailed with Odin. This person knows so much information. They were on Laugh-Tale. This person fought the Whitebeard crew. Here. Like, it's insanity to think about like what beans could potentially be spilled here. We already know Luffy isn't trying to figure out like some of those details, like specifically he wants to have the adventure and stuff like I get that, but like what else I don't know. My mind is just constantly enraptured in like the possibilities of what this person has to offer to us, the readers. Because I know Luffy is going to turn down the obvious question, what's the One Piece? He doesn't want that. He wants to figure it out himself. We could have gotten that back at Saba Odi, but everything else, bro, I'm like, this is huge. It's like, it's so hard to follow the mural, like everything that we had from last chapter. This is an insane reveal. And man, to have a whole break week to think finally to kind of ruminate on this, it's insane. It's crazy. It is.
I think that gives us a clear segue. So guys, what are we rating this chapter out of 10? Kube, let's start with you.
So normally I would rate this like an 8 or a 9. I told that this literally to Lucas, but just for the Scopper stocks and a lot of the spicy stuff we got being in the chapter, I'm putting it at a 10.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh. Okay. What about you, Neck?
See, I think it's hard to top last chapter. At first I said even like he could have took his break this week and it would have been fine to sit on the mural, but there's a lot of stuff you can insinuate with the information we got in this chapter, and in hindsight I'd actually put it a lot higher and I'd give it an 8. I had it much lower.
You had it lower? Like, yeah. Like how low?
Like a 6.
Oh wow, I don't think I've ever ranked a One Piece chapter that low.
I mean, what's the point of the full scale if you're not going to use it? I definitely see what he's getting at. For me, I wasn't super impressed from anything we got until this last page. Like some of it is hype, some of it is cool, and like for me, that's just what I've come to expect from One Piece. So like that rates it closer to a 5. Like I can agree with what he was saying, but this last page and just the implications just immediately bumped it up for me. I'm gonna say like an 8.3, like leaning closer towards maybe an 8.5. I don't know, we'll see how the officials treat me, but I can't give it a 10. I respect people who give it a 10, like, because this agenda has been hard. I was a big Shiki supporter, and I'm not hurt. You know, I still think Shiki could show up in the story somehow in current day panels elsewhere, because I was always open to the Scopper agenda, and here we are with some vindication for those who were there since day one. But to me, I just like the mural is a clear 10 out of 10 chapter, and this is not that. It's not that far off, but I could not give it more than an 8.5 where I currently stand. So I'll go with like 8.3. If the officials give me something spicier, maybe an 8.5.
Respectable. 3-Day, what about you?
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I was giving it an 8.5, and thinking about what it might mean next chapter. Is it just a test, or is he going to show Luffy something he completely lacks? I think it could be something like that, because Luffy right now seems almost unbeatable at some points, you know, but if he's going to show him something he truly lacks, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Please.
I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think that the start of the chapter and everything
Bro gives it 1 point more than I did initially, without any hindsight. And he's like, bro, I can't believe you give us a 6.
Yeah, that's crazy. A 6.
How could you?
The Funk Brothers didn't appear in this one. How'd you give it? No.
Oh my gosh.
But no, I gave it a 7 out of 10. It felt like one of those leeway chapters, you know what I mean, where it's in between something major and the next major plot point, which we got at the end of the chapter. But I do enjoy those small interactions between, you know, the Orange Town 3 and
the Romance Dawn trio.
Roto.
Sounds better.
Yeah, the Romance Dawn trio. But having those little interactions between them and Roto was fantastic. Like I said, I love Roto being a scaredy cat, especially because he's a giant, like literally.
Oh, dude. He's got to stop growing on me. It's bad.
I know, right?
Did
He's a
you
funny
even throw
character, though.
Ripley or Frankie in this one?
I don't
No.
think so.
Okay,
We
that's
didn't see
what I
Robin,
can't wait to
Chopper,
get back
any of them.
to. I'm
I
hoping it'll
know.
pick up.
I am too. I'm ready. I hope next chapter. I would prefer seeing Frankie and then Rob in what she's doing with the Harley text than the fight between Scopper and Luffy, which I'm very hyped for. I want to see that, but I'd be cool if we cut away from that for next chapter.
I have just been trained by Oda for so long at this point. I'm nowhere near as like lifelong of a fan as some of the people in this call even, but like I've spent enough time understanding some of these things you won't get payoff on immediately, and I feel like the mural is one of those things. Like there's no way we dive right back into the mural or the Harley text.
No.
I could be wrong, but I think that
10
we're gonna
chapters.
be away from those for a little bit. I could see the next chapter being something like what it means to be the king of the pirates or something, and it's like it's truly like the test, you know. And like I want to see Luffy get humbled. I need my boy to understand there's still further to climb. I don't need him to he knows pain, but like, you know what I mean, like I don't know.
Wow,
really
that is
cool
crazy.
So-
He just kills Nami in front of him.
Lucas, hear me out. I don't have future sight, but I'm convinced next time we'll see Robin. We'll see her reading the stuff, and if it's the chapter where we found out what she's reading, it'll just be Robin saying, "Oh my god," and then nothing, or maybe until half an arc minimum to the next arc.
Yeah, like
She's
just
gonna
like
get
she does with
captured
every
by-
polyglyph.
And
She's gonna get
captured.
captured by Ja Rule, who's been working for Cypher Pole ever since back in the Mother Caramel days. Like
We just solved it.
The
whole
mama,
arc was
back in
solved.
the old mama days,
Oh
All
my
right, guys,
goodness.
are we cool to wrap up here?
Of course.
What
Any
do you
final
rate it?
thoughts?
Cube.
Thank you, Oda, for
Cube.
4
Give it
weeks
like
of
a 10.
fantastic, like, you know, content.
Cube
Oh, yeah.
rated
Oda,
was
take
one
a
of
break.
the-
Yeah, so I said normally I would rate it this
Yes.
between 8 and a 9, but because of the
Oh.
Scopper nostalgia and stuff like that, I'm putting it at a 10.
Yeah, for me, like legit, Oda, take your breaks. Like you ain't got.
Yeah. Take your breaks. You deserve
love
it.
I love it. I respect it, and thank you. But Oda, please take your breaks. And like,
Yeah, man.
it's. I just. Oh my goodness.
4
I don't
You
know.
should
weeks.
pull.
Plus, I
This
have
is
it
a
on my
treat.
bingo card. I have it on my bingo card that we won't get that many chapters this year. So chill, dude. Like,
We'll have
Nah,
to knock out
four
like
chapters a
44.
month.
Dude, I'm
Yeah,
Something crazy.
He knocks out 50. He only takes 2 weeks off the entire year.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
I did have one last question though, Lucas.
Yes.
Are any of y'all disturbed by the statement that he stood shoulder to shoulder, or meaning that they were equal to each other, and that means Zoro and Sanji
No.
and Luffy are sort
Doesn't
of
bug
equal?
me at all. They said the same thing about
No.
Jinbei and
So-
Erlan.
Yeah, it's respect.
So listen, all it means is you're standing on the front lines with somebody. It doesn't mean that you're
Yeah.
an equivalent combatant to them. And like people who are reading more into that,
Yeah.
you're reading a different story than me. That's all I'm gonna say. But
It's just like
um,
Oda said, reading comprehension.
Yeah. Think of it like this: the responsibility that Luffy, Zoro, and Nami has among the crew is a bit different because Luffy delegates. That's how I see it. It's more about responsibility and respect than actual power scaling.
I think it also could mean like shoulder to shoulder. This is somebody that they saw as a brother, someone to have their back. Like when you think of it in the terms of Jinbei and Arlong, those two never really liked each other, but at the same time on the battlefield they knew they could rely on each other.
Right.
You got to think about it from just like a front line type of like we saw
Exactly.
Rayleigh and Gaban walking up whenever Odin was like skipping to my loo on the beach, like or whatever in the flashback, and then Roger poked his head out and was like, "Hey, that guy looks strong. Let me handle this." And so like these were the people who were walking in the front of like the pecking order. These were the first in line to fight. And that's all that means. And when you think about that from other modern day factions in One Piece and stuff like that, that's like saying that just because Buggy and Mihawk and Crocodile are standing shoulder to shoulder, that they are all equivalent. And let's be real, Mihawk and Crocodile have nothing on Buggy. So I don't know. Power scalers, eat your heart out.
I mean, think about this. We will be now in the world of One Piece. We're very important people because without realizing, we saw in Orange Town a clash between Yonkos. You know what I mean? Buggy stocks are very high. Yeah, man, we saw future Yonkos clashing. We're among the few people who have been able to witness this greatness.
The man rebuilt his entire fleet after being wiped out by Straw Hat Luffy. That's absolutely insane.
That's like,
and then became a Yonko. Yeah,
that's
absolutely crazy.
That's Luffy's era of the Ed Wars, Orange Town.
If you guys learned anything from this, it's that hashtag free Loki for sure, Buggy Supreme 100%, and don't trust Ange.
Ange, if 3D is right, don't trust Ange. All right, guys, enough waffling. Thank you guys so much for listening to us discuss the chapter this week. We at the Eternal Dawn love each and every one of you, community, and cannot wait to continue the story of One Piece with you. Kube, sign us out, baby.
And we'll see you all at the next sunrise. Bye.
Bye.